Schönen Tag and welcome to my cooking channel, The Vegan Cook's Passport, where I aim to cook a vegan version of every national dish in the world. This is episode number 10 and we're up to the European country of Austria. Before we get into the Austrian national dish, I'm just going to show you where Austria is on the map. Austria is a landlocked country in Central Europe, right here. The capital is Vienna, which is where the term for the Wiener Schnitzel comes from. In terms of its cuisine, heavily influenced by the south of Germany. It actually used to be part of that region previously. Also big influence from the north of Italy, which in fact is where the schnitzel originally comes from. It's brought over from Milan in the medieval period. Which is also why in some countries you'll hear the schnitzel referred to as a milanesa, especially in Latin American countries. So Austria's got a few national dishes, but the most famous one by far, especially outside of the country, is the Wiener Schnitzel. So what is a Wiener Schnitzel? So Wiener means Viennese, or from Vienna, the capital of Austria, and Schnitzel means cutlet. So traditionally it would be a veal cutlet that would be washed in an egg wash and then dredged in breadcrumbs and deep fried. Now there's a few of those ingredients obviously we can't use because we're making a vegan version. So veal I'm substituting for cauliflower, which I haven't used yet in any of my recipes, but is a great meat substitute, especially for something like this where you want it to maintain its shape. So I'm going to slice the cauliflower into chunks, which is also cool because it looks a little bit like a brain. Then I'm going to submerge it in my vegan egg, which is basically just chickpea flour, which is a really good substitute for egg, mixed with water. And to that mix I'm going to add a little bit of Kala Namak, which is black Himalayan salt. Nothing really like the pink Himalayan salt. This stuff is very sulfurous and it just gives a kind of eggy touch to it. It's not that important if you can't get this stuff or you don't want to buy it. It just makes it a little bit more eggy. If you can find this stuff and you do use it, don't worry when you first use it, it smells like overly sulfurous, it smells really eggy. Once you cook it, that really strong smell goes away and it's quite a subtle taste. And then we're gonna dredge it through the breadcrumbs. So I've just bought breadcrumbs. If you've got some bread that's starting to go a little bit stale, you can just blitz that up and use that. But if not, then you can just go and buy some normal breadcrumbs. You can get the panko stuff, the Japanese stuff, but if you want to make it authentically sort of Austrian, just get the normal breadcrumbs. They're a bit cheaper than the panko usually anyway, so that's a good thing. So essentially we're making a cauliflower schnitzel, so that can't actually be called a Wiener Schnitzel because technically Wiener Schnitzel has to have veal. So there's a lot of different schnitzels in Austria. They actually use chicken, they use pork a lot, but technically they're not supposed to call those ones Wiener Schnitzels, they're supposed to just call them schnitzels. So ours is not a Wiener Schnitzel, it is a cauliflower schnitzel. So that's the main dish. What the Austrians usually eat with their schnitzel, very commonly they'll have an Austrian potato salad. I haven't done the recipe for that. I'm actually going to make one to eat myself with it. I just got a recipe online, looks really good. It's actually very vegan friendly because they don't use any mayonnaise in an Austrian potato salad. So if you wanted to put one of those in with your schnitzel, just have a little Google, you can find some really good recipes online. You can also always have a lemon wedge with it, just a squeeze on the top. They also use lingonberry jam a lot. I couldn't find any of that, but if you've got that accessible to you where you live, get a little bit of lingonberry jam on your schnitzel. Stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll discuss the best Austrian wines to have with this dish, and I love Austrian wine, so I'm looking forward to that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Let's get cooking some schnitz! Start by trimming a medium to large head of cauliflower. If there are any green bits, pull them off, then trim the core with a sharp knife. Next, cut the cauliflower lengthways, then slice into 4 steaks at around 2 centimeters thick. Any additional pieces of cauliflower you can save and use in a soup. Next, get a mixing bowl and add 1 cup of chickpea flour, then 1 cup of tap water,
a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and half a teaspoon of Kalinamak salt. Mix that all together until it's smooth with no lumps. Next, add 2 cups of breadcrumbs to a plate. Add a pinch of salt and a grind of pepper. Mix well, then add enough oil to a hot pan to cover at least 1.5 centimeters. When the oil is hot, take a piece of cauliflower and dip it in the chickpea flour mix. Then fully cover the cauliflower in breadcrumbs and add to the hot pan. Repeat with another piece of cauliflower and flip after 2 to 3 minutes in the pan. When both sides are golden, transfer the pieces to an oven tray lined with baking paper. Repeat the process with the last 2 pieces, then bake in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 7 minutes. Serve with a wedge of lemon, potato salad and some leafy greens.
Hoppa! There we go. Austrian schnitzel with cauliflower. It looks great. Perfect golden colour. I'm going to first, obviously the most important thing is to squeeze a little bit of the old lemon onto it. There we go. Don't forget to do that. And dig in. Let's have a taste. Look at that. Perfectly cooked. Wouldn't want any more in the oven than that. If you're doing thicker slices, you might need a little bit more just to cook the cauliflower through. Just check it after 7 minutes and then go from there if you think it's not cooked enough. It's delicious, crunchy, full of flavour. Yeah, just try it. It's really good. I'm having it with a bit of lettuce and an Austrian potato salad recipe I found on the internet with no mayonnaise, so vegan friendly. Let's have a little try of that actually. That's really nice too. Will go really well with that. Now, wine pairing suggestion. Obviously going to go for Austrian wine. Austrian wine is some of my absolute favourite. The quality level is really high. Even if you get a bottle that's maybe not that expensive, really good quality level throughout. It's very difficult to find a bad bottle of wine, I'd say, in Austria. You're much more likely, if you're going to just walk into a shop, buy a bottle of Austrian wine, it's much more likely to be better quality than if you go to a different origin, let's say. Now, the classic one is going to be Grüner Veltliner, which is a white wine. It's sort of Austria's own sort of white grape variety. It's a little bit like Riesling, not quite as high acidity and maybe a little bit more body. Some of them can have a sort of vegetal character to them. So with the cauliflower, I think that's going to go really nicely if you want a white wine with that dish. However, some of my favourite wines from Austria are the red wines that don't really get talked about as much as the whites. Blaufränkisch is one of the more sort of famous, let's say, varieties, but one of my favourites, and I think which would go really well with this dish, is a variety called Saint Laurent. It's a little bit like their version of Pinot Noir, so a little bit lighter, loads of red fruit, good acidity, a bit spicy, really nice wines. I think that would go well with that dish as well. As always, if you liked this video, please click like, or even if you didn't like it, click like anyway. Subscribe to my channel for more videos, and tune in for the next episode where I'll be cooking a vegan version of the national dish of Azerbaijan. See you later.